Welcome to the Nerd Party.
I'm Darren Moser.
I'm Philip Gilfus.
I'm Daniel Prue.
And this is City Alpha 3.
Welcome, everyone, to City Alpha 3, a Star Trek podcast here on the Nerd Party. I'm Philip Gilfus, joined by Darren Moser and Daniel Prue. Gentlemen, how has your Star Trek week been? In fact, maybe the last time we'll speak without new Star Trek.
Ever.
Well,
that's true. The next wave of Trek. So my audiobook progress is I started a different audiobook. Not that there's anything against Coda. The same thing happened to me with the Maelstrom book. Like, it didn't quite grab me at the beginning, and so I eventually got back to it and eventually got rolling. But I just went back to one of my old standbys that I've listened to many times called The Singularity Trap, which is by Dennis Taylor, who wrote the Bobaverse books. And I really like that. But anyway, so no progress on the Star Trek audiobooks. I'll get to it. It's 3 long books, guys. It's going to take me a while.
Come on, Darren. You're letting all the listeners down.
So I'm sure a book that came out like a year ago that they could all listen to or read. Although we have a new Star Wars book coming out about that's a in between Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor book that's going to come out next March, so I'm excited for that.
Oh, wait. Interesting. They're filling the gaps between the game?
Yeah, so the game...
You're going to make me read Star Wars? I haven't done that in so long. I don't want to
I don't know exactly when the Jedi Survivor is supposed to take place. I know it's obviously later, but this is called...
I thought we were told specifically. Like, I think it was like 5 years or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure we have been told. It's called Jedi Battle Scars, and it'll take place between the two. And yeah, I'm very excited.
I don't want to read books, man.
Audiobooks, then. Reading for your ears.
I don't know why every time I'm hosting it turns into a Star Wars talk. Sign up. Guys, you got like you have two and 3 chances to do it on your own. But here we go. What about you, Daniel? Since you obviously poo-pooed Darren's commitment, tell us how Deep Space Nine's going.
Deep Space Nine is going well. We are on the 3rd Loaxana episode, where she
DS9?
Yeah. Or maybe it's the second. Maybe I thought there was 3.
Is this the one where she marries him and he turns into
They're stuck in the turbo lift.
Is it the turbo lift one?
They're stuck in the turbo lift. There's the one where she gets sick and gets everybody weird.
You're right.
Everybody gets really And then now we're on the one where she gets
that's a serious one.
It's a quote unquote. Well, not only is it Dark Pages specifically referenced, so it's definitely a serious one. But yeah, her husband, she comes on board. She's pregnant, and apparently in their society, the men have the right to the male children, and it's going to be a boy, and she doesn't want to just whatever. And that's kind of what's going on. But it's okay. It's certainly not the best, but. I thought that was good.
So here's a question, and I think it's probably one we're all asking. Why wasn't Deanna's brother at her wedding?
Good question.
Stepbrother.
I don't know what.
Well, it reminds me
remember what happened.
What was it? Half a Life. Like she's always kind of off marrying other people, and like
I'm not getting pregnant all the time.
No, that's true, but
she's it is weird though. Like, I mean, she's kind of like a. I think of her as like a diplomat for Beta Z, and Odo in the beginning is like, let's just get you back to Beta Z, and she's like, I can't go there. That's the first place he'll look, and then she finds him anyways. And I don't know. It's they're good. I do like the relationship between her and Odo. I think it's a good pairing. There's this great scene where he she's like, oh, my replicator doesn't work. Can I go into your quarters and use yours? And it was just an excuse to kind of, spend some time with him. And they play this great game where he transforms into like something in the room, and she has to find him using her, empathetic abilities. And it's cute. It's really cute. So the relationship is.
I would think of all the characters, Odo would be one of those that falls in the I can't read him because he has no brain. He has
that's what fascinates her.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's kind of what the implication is. Like, she's not good at it because he's not like normal people. He doesn't have a solid brain. He's all goo. But so the relationship is cute. And I think this is the last occurrence of her, right?
I think so. Yeah.
And if that's the case, even in canon, right? That's the last.
And it does make you wonder what happened, since we know, spoilers to Deep Space Nine. We know that Beta Z falls during the Dominion War, right?
Yeah.
So
I wonder how quick that was, though. I feel like that was probably kind of a Mars defense perimeter situation where like people just show up and they don't expect it, and they're like, "Okay, we surrender," kind of a thing. I don't know. I mean,
who knows? Well, last night I went here in the UK. They released the motion picture to theaters for limited engagement. It's the whole thing we talked about months ago with the 4K release on Paramount Plus.
How many UK minutes long was this edition?
4 Glens. So,
oh boy,
yeah. So yeah, it was, and of course at this point I've seen the motion picture more times than I care to. But I mean, it was halfway cool to see it again. But I having watched it on my laptop screen when we talked about the recent release, in our last episode, weeks and weeks ago, on the big screen, you see the good really well. You see the bad really well. I'm like, oh, they did not fix as much as I would have hoped. I mean, and I can't remember if I noticed it watching it on my laptop on Paramount Plus. But yeah, so
did you fall asleep in the theater? That's the test.
Here's the thing, and it just struck me after my 12th watch or whatever it's been of the motion picture. I don't think the ending makes sense. Because, okay, and I'm giving a lot. So, whatever. You have Probe Ilea and Decker, join, hand quote. And then, special light. And then there's a explosion or whatever you want to call it. And then the Enterprise, and there's the Enterprise. And we're all happy. Yay, I gave birth to a kid. Hope we get a good start. What happened to him? Did they explode? Did we do a sensor sweep? Where did they go? Did they just disappears? That happens when things join. I'm like, where did it get? No one's freaking out that did they just explode?
I don't. It's been so long since I watched the ending. I don't. Mm-hmm. They're heading for Earth, right? And then they do the thing and the lights and you say, but then it just stops. I guess. Where does it go?
Explodes. There's
it just turns into an energy cloud right over Earth.
But it was already an energy cloud. Most of it was an energy cloud, right?
Yeah, but it
with a tiny probe in the middle of it.
Yep.
Because it was already 1 or 2 AUs in diameter.
Relative. Yeah, okay. Well, let's start
power.
with I mean, yeah.
I'm just telling you what they say on the screen,
I know,
Darren. I
know.
didn't decide these dimensions. They did. So.
And also, my favorite part, not favorite, is that the view screen. So, you're watching the movie, the bridge of the Enterprise is in, 4K, whatever. I don't know this stuff, but 4K. The view screen is in standard definition. Anytime they're watching anything on that view screen, I'm watching someone in HD watch something on SD. They couldn't do that part either? Okay. Oh, whatever.
All they had was VHS,
I guess,
on the refit, so that's all.
Also, that was a dark movie. I don't think I've noticed that just because I watched it on a small screen. On the big screen, I'm like, can someone turn any lights on this bridge? I mean, it seems like we're in red alert the whole... Anyway, so yeah, motion picture, yay, whatever. Go Star Trek.
But you did say, you said Wrath of Khan was coming, right, as well?
I did, yeah. Star Trek 2 is, I think it's coming out early September, which is obviously soon. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that because I've seen 4 on the big screen. For some reason, it was out in the past 4 years, pre-COVID. But and I've seen the motion picture, of course. But I think those are the only TOS movies I've seen on the big screen. So
I don't remember. There was something I watched a couple years ago, but I can't remember which movie it was. Maybe it was 2.
Yeah, I remember watching Wrath of Khan. I think with Shar.
Yeah, there was some Fathom event or something.
Yeah. Well, this week they're actually bringing Rogue One in IMAX back for a couple of days, so I'm going to be seeing that this week as well.
That's as a promotion for that new show, right?
Yeah, because Andor is coming out in a month.
Remember that character that was in that one thing that one time?
Hey, you can say that about a lot of things.
I know. It's just funny.
You mean Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan? Remember that one character was in that one thing that one time?
Well, now he's in 2 things.
And got a movie.
Well, speaking of experiencing Star Trek,
Yeah.
so speaking of old things that we enjoyed in Star Trek, so Star Trek: The Experience, for those who don't know, was a experience. I'm trying not to use that word. Was a exhibition. That's a better word, right?
I mean, you can see them deciding what to call it. They're like, what do we call this thing? Well, it's,
Star Trek. What do we call it?
If we can't think anything better, we'll call it Star Trek: The Experience. 3
that's
months
just a
and $1
gap
million later. You know what, guys? It's grown on me. Star Trek: The Experience.
We just call this the Deep Space Nine effect. Just we'll just put it there, and we'll think of something better.
Can we
never
work the word 4D in somewhere? That's kids love the 4D.
So, like I said, for those who don't know, Star Trek: The Experience, it was open from 1998 to 2008. It was at the Las Vegas Hilton, off the Strip in Las Vegas, and very quickly, very generally, you would walk into that portion of the casino. It would be sort of like a mini Star Trek museum, kind of, and there'd be big ships hanging from the ceiling, and there's like a little museum, with all the uniforms and props and stuff. Then you get into the actual queue for the experience.
Q was there?
When it first opened, it was just the Klingon Encounter. And again, I won't describe the whole thing, but you do the Klingon Encounter. We'll go into it later. And then when you came out, you would basically come out into 2 stores. There's like the bigger general Star Trek store, and then there was like the high-end boutique Star Trek store, the Admirals, whatever they called it. So it was a little more expensive, but nicer things. And then to the rest of and that was all to the right, and then to the left was huge Quark's Bar. So you basically had this big restaurant. That was Quark's Bar, and then they had Star Trek themed menu items, and that was the whole thing. I forget what year, but later in its run, midway through probably, they added, in addition to the Klingon Encounter, which was TNG based, they added the Borg 4D experience, which was Voyager based. So
Deep Space Nine getting shafted again.
I know. I don't know what to tell you.
It's literally the promenade. It's literally built around the promenade with quarks. Like, they get their anchor. That's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Where's the Dominion War experience, huh?
And then just very, I don't want to bore people. You can watch it on YouTube or something. But the Klingon Encounter, you would basically find yourself on the Enterprise D transporter room. You get walked through the corridors. You ended up in the bridge, which is very, very accurate and very cool and all that. And you sort of had some people, pretending to be Starfleet people. And the view screen had Commander Riker and Commander LaForge in a original adventure, basically, directing that you are part of this adventure. You would then be herded to another corridor, and I think you'd be chased by the Borg, if I'm not incorrect. And then you'd enter a shuttle, hand quote, and that was sort of the ride. That you sort of enter, and then it was sort of a surround screen, if that makes sense to people.
No, yeah, the screen wasn't inside the shuttle. The shuttle had open windows, and it was like a curved half dome projection screen. Yeah. So you were 3-dimensionally moving around the screen.
So yeah, and so it would like move you because it was on.
Actuators, yeah.
Thank you, yeah. And so you'd feel like you're actually in a shuttle, and it involved you going through space and going through wormholes, and then landing in actual Las Vegas, back where you were, and that's where you exit the shuttle. For the for the Borg 40, I don't remember it all, but even though I probably went 2 times, but it was basically you would go into an actual like auditorium, like you think like a movie theater. I mean, that's what it was,
right?
And I'm trying to remember whether you wore 3D glasses. I don't think so, but maybe you did.
I'm guessing you did because you need 3 other Ds. So then,
a 3D visor, I think, is what it was.
And it was set post Voyager. Basically, you were at Jupiter Station. I mean, you're watching it on the screen. You're at Jupiter Station, where the doctor, Robert Picardo, was, in charge of something with the Borg research. And so, like, the 4D experience that I remember, because I think there were 3D glasses, because, like, you'd have, like, nanoprobes come and try to attack you, and then the seats would be, like, massaging your back, like the nanoprobes,
right?
And like you'd feel like
little mist,
whoosh.
Little wind, you know, that 4th dimension. It's not time like you thought it was.
And then at the end, Admiral Janeway saved you. I can't remember the story all of that, but anyway, that was basically it. And then you were ushered out, and that was it. So that was Star Trek: The Experience in a nutshell. It only lasted for 10 years, like we said, and then there really hasn't been any kind of Star Trek, capital, if you will, for since then. I mean, I know, you can argue the bigger conventions, whether it's the actual Star Trek Las Vegas convention, and then, in the last year was Chicago, and that new convention, which I guess is going to be somewhere in the Northwest. I can't remember where it is next year.
I think, yeah.
Seattle?
I think it's
Seattle, right?
I
think it's Seattle, but anyway, that kind of, that's the convention, I guess, now. But and then the other place, I suppose, is in sort of your home state, Daniel, is in Ticonderoga, New York, which is a little out of the way, but nevertheless, it has a lot. I know, because I was looking
for
to see,
anything.
I was like, I want to go there, but there's not like an airport in that town. So anyway. But that has the original tour set, which, I mean, please look that up, because it's very good. I mean, the sick bay, TOS bridge, Kirk's quarters, and you can see all the established Trek, the Okudas, Doug Drexler, they've all been over there. Shatner, if that's your thing, goes there. And then they've just announced, and I guess this is always their intent, to open up a TNG. So they just have started their TNG.
I have been seeing some pictures of that. Yeah, like the science stations all across the back of the bridge, and
the aft bridge stations. Yeah. So that's going to be coming up. So that maybe that'll be the new, Star Trek experience, if you will. But I thought we would kind of talk about what we would, pitch, as we like to do around here on City.
Guys, Star Trek's hot again. We got to get on it. We got to bring a thing. Give me your pitches. I only have this turbolift ride, so you got to go fast.
So, I mean, I'm interested in what y'all have to say. This is my thoughts, but of course you can do whatever you want. Is, when the experience happened, this was 1998. Yes, Deep Space Nine was on, and Voyager just started, but, Next Gen was the latest big thing, and that's kind of what it was built around. And so I think building one now, I would suggest you'd have to do 21st century Trek. That's my thought. You can say, F it, Phil, we're just going to build what we like. But that's my thought. So, but anyway, what would be your pitches for what you would like to see at a Star Trek The Experience? And whether it's at Vegas or whether you're just building it in the middle of nowhere and starting from scratch.
Bozeman, Montana.
Iowa. You know what? You laugh. That'd be great.
So I feel like I want to say first, this obviously makes me think a lot about the Star Wars experience with the Halcyon, the hotel in space. And when I was watching that clip you sent, Philip, of about the Star Trek experience, I was getting major flashbacks, because it's like an interactive environment with people and characters that walk around and talk to you, and themed everything. Like, it's very, very, I mean, again, it's not like it's a template that you can't replicate. It is what it is. But it made me start to think about what pitfalls have I seen in the current Star Wars experiences that I would not want to include in this Star Trek experience. And I think the biggest thing for me is there's got to be some sort of wibbly wobbly fractured time. I don't think you want to commit to a specific era. I think that is a big mistake, because not that Trek isn't continually marching forward, but it would seem so weird to have an experience that, let's say, is all about discovery, and then you don't have anything about TOS or anything about TNG, the two most popular eras of the franchise. So that's what I would kind of build around. Is, I don't know, I don't have the whole story fleshed out, but something is going to fracture and happen. And I think it would be so cool if you were like moving through corridors, and you literally, as you go through the next door, you go from a TOS corridor to a TNG corridor to you feel like, kind of like, what was that Voyager episode? Was it Shattered?
I was just thinking Shattered. Yeah, exactly.
Kind of like Shattered, but across all the ships and places, because that really, same thing with Galaxy's Edge, which isn't a full experience, but it is trying to put you in the Star Wars universe. But that also has an issue, because they have put a pin on a specific moment in the story, and they're saying this is the story we're telling. And so you can't see Darth Vader, you can't see Luke Skywalker, you can't see all these popular characters because they weren't alive during that moment or whatever. And it's it's a poor reason if you're starting from scratch to lock yourself to one moment. So I would try to find a way. Yeah, don't canon lock yourself. So I would try to find a way where, I mean, how cool would that be if like all of your, I mean, everyone walking around is wearing different jumpsuits, and as they're leading you through, they're passing you off to other people. I think that would be so much more fun. And then you're going to have people who love all different Star Trek. So they're going to get something out of that experience.
So
go ahead.
I was just going to try to expand on the idea a little bit. Like either like you go to a hotel and like each floor is a different
guys, we got a budget here. I don't know what you're
yeah, so okay, that's fine. or like maybe like Darren says, every like doorway you go through is like the Guardian effect, right?
Right.
And then you
That'd
go,
be cool. I mean, you actually walk through the Guardian.
You got to jump in slow motion.
and then so you just go through and like so you're on the the original Enterprise bridge, and then you go through and now you're on you're sitting with Captain Lorca and his ready.
That'd actually be really cool.
Like
a giant Guardian of Forever that is the main entryway to the experience, and so it's like once you pass through, you're going to experience. It's just basically saying buckle up.
Because it's also funny. You could do all your safety announcements with the Guardian.
Yeah.
Please do not take any photos.
Keep
or
your
video.
hands and arms inside the vortex.
Bathrooms will be located midway through the experience. That's cool. Because it makes me, and I won't, because this will be like another 30-minute explanation that I don't want to do. But when I did Doctor Who: The Experience here in London a couple of months ago, and again, it's 60 years of Doctor Who. You got to filter out to one thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that necessarily captured all of Doctor Who, but I'll tell you the concept at least was, without going into it. So basically you came into like UNIT, which is like the Earth-based, alien fighting force. And story, basically. Blah, blah, blah. And you ended up going through these sort of portals. And it was cool because my wife and I, when you walk through the portal, and then it was like just stairs, like you're walking down stairs, but they actually split the stairs. So like, you go down this stairwell or this stairwell, and my wife and I, for whatever reason, got split up. But we ended up then at entrance, I guess not exiting, going into two different areas. And so what it was sort of it was mostly New Who, which is fine. But it was sort of like different pieces. So like you walk through one and you'd be in Queen Elizabeth I court. You'd walk through another area, you'd be in Torchwood headquarters. You'd walk through another area, you'd be in Leonardo da Vinci's, which would be Old Who, workshop. But like, and they were like huge. I mean, it was sort of like a really big, I'm not an actual booth, but like the really big size of a booth, like each of these kind of sections, because you were sort of blended into time fractures. So I'm just wondering, because when you were talking first, I was thinking like the relativity, you're all like, right, temporal, whatever, but also like Guardian, like you're on a
Guardian's
mission.
A great way to go.
And so I think maybe you have, without $1 million budget, but you could almost have a different experience depending on which way you crisscross.
Well, and because I hadn't gotten that far, I was just thinking more like an experience like they had built, where it's like a ride and then you end out. But you had a good point about different decks, or I'm almost picturing. Like I've been to the Luxor, which is, inside the pyramid, you have a huge array of stuff. And then around the outer perimeter is kind of the main hotel, at least for the part that's in the pyramid. And it made me think, like, how cool would that be if you had a central area and then around it, maybe in like quarters, like 4 different sections, you had like the TOS wing and the TNG wing and the DS9 or something like that. And so basically, because here's the other thing that I think is important, you want people to have reasons to come again.
Yeah.
And so if you had 4 or 5 different era, so you don't have to, I'm not saying go the whole on Halcyon route, but I am saying like make it look like the decor inside. Yeah. So if you come and stay in the TOS wing, you're like, oh, this is cool, but next time I want to try this wing because it's going to be a whole different, room shape and experience. I think that would be really cool.
It would be pretty easy. I don't want to say super easy. It might be pricey, but it would be easy enough to to sort of dress up these rooms in certain styles.
Right.
You use primary colors for the TOS stuff. You know what I mean? You get the triangle pillow for Deep Space Nine. It would be easy to sort of do in like the more industrial look for something like Discovery.
Yeah, purples and grays for DS9 and just easy.
It'd be easy enough to like kind of sort of spruce up the room or whatever. I think it'd be pretty
But
cool.
you could have like a wall, like a main wall section in each room that is not swap outable, but like the rooms are built modularly, like they're all identical, but there's a centerpiece wall that is different per wing. So in DS9, that's what has all the DS9-ish stuff on it that makes you feel like you're in a different space. So it's not actually like you're building 4 completely different rooms, but
I think the challenge for the Trek nerds is that we want the big builds because we want to be like, I want the TOS bridge, I want the TNG bridge, I want the Voyager, and we can't do that. We can't do them all is the answer. We can't do them all. But I'm thinking of like, there's some series that lend themselves because like, again, not to make it like it, but with the Doctor Who experience, there literally was hand quotes intermission because like eventually you'd be corralled into a bar. And it had like all the Doctor Who aliens, but it literally was a bar too. Before you went to the final piece, you could sort of have a intermission, depending on how long this experience is. That is Quark's bar, so you sort of tick, your deal, and that way you could have. Because I think that about the Doctor Who experience, it was really about the people. I mean, the actors, the characters. Whereas I think Trek's often a lot about the. Not the characters.
But I think it also is about, at least the Star Trek experience was, because you talk to anyone who's been there or you see any video and they're like the Klingons that walk around or the Ferengi, like the Borg, those actors like made the show because they're in it. They're in it to win it. They are committed. I think I would also want to include our holodeck escape room option. Have a couple of those that people can go into. I think that would be fun. I know what you mean about the big builds, but maybe you make something where it's seasonal. Again, another reason to come again. So during the summer, we have the TNG bridge, and they literally store it and bring out like the TOS or some other bridge during the other half of the year. So now you have a reason to go again. Like that's the thing. You can't overcommit to one thing.
I do feel seasonal would be probably overkill, just because nobody's going to go twice, 3 times.
Once
Not
a
nobody,
year.
but
you can do once a year.
Yeah, once a year. Do it.
Well, that's
annually.
what I'm saying. If you, but I'm saying if you go in the summer one year and then you go in the fall the next year, that you
but I just
experience.
It doesn't whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. But like switch it.
Stop
out
with your logical.
But yeah, like this is the year of like it's a big like let's say that there's.
Like every 2 or 3 years, it changes or something like that.
Right, like there's a like a meaningful anniversary, like a TNG anniversary. It's like the 30th or 35th or whatever, and like
65th or whatever.
Whatever
we're doing,
or it's a new show, or like Lower Decks is ending, so you make a really fun animated, brightly colored Cerritos bridge. Yeah, that'd be super cool because the bridges generally are roughly the same size and shape.
Right. The doors are in the back corners, the screen's in the front, the rest all kind of revolves around it.
So I don't want to like force y'all to do specific things, but now I'm going to. So this wouldn't be big, but Darren, I'm going to pick on you because you're our resident expert. What would
in what? Expert in what?
What would Murph's playtime corner look like for the experience? Because I think you'd have to have that
ginormous ball pit. No, no. The main thing, honestly, no. That's a great thing. The big thing that you need in Murph's playtime corner is because it makes you think of like there's a couple areas in Disneyland or in Legoland. You basically need a corralled room where there's one entrance and exit that has benches to sit at, and it has to be designed in a way where once the kids come in, the parents can just back off and the kids just go get that energy out, run. I'm thinking major tube slides and all sorts of like it's basically looks like a giant, play structure inside. And then but so it's not even, it doesn't even matter what is in there. It just matters your entry point. Once you have that established, then they can just run and play and do. And then when they're done, they come back out and then you're your kids can take their nap. So yeah,
certainly Flotter would be there as well, right?
Flotter. we could have all sorts of things.
Story time, Flotter story time.
Yeah. Yeah, you could read a like a mini episode sort of a thing, like like it recaps a Star Trek episode, but
you just have it playing Prodigy just the whole time.
Well, you do that too.
I mean, there's they would have come out, but for the rest of the first season.
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, where you have it projected on the wall or something, and it's playing. But yeah, no, I like that idea. That is as an adult with kids, that would
come to our Trek indoctrination room. I mean, sorry, Murph's Playtime Corner. What did I call it?
A little bit of both, but yes. No, that's true. And that because we have Prodigy, which you could totally play for any age, which, I mean, there's not really other Trek that a little TOS, like specific episodes or specific things, but they're really going to connect with Prodigy.
Because when you went to I can't remember the name of the big store at the Star Trek Experience. It's a big store, but they would just have whatever Trek playing, on a screen.
Right.
Of course, back then, fewer choices. So here's a question: how would
all the screens were 4x3?
Exactly, all SD, of course. How would you all? What would be your ideas of how to incorporate lower decks? Is it separate and aside? Because how are you doing that animated feel, or is it like something separate, or is it part of everything else?
I mean, like we've talked about, having separate areas for different eras or properties would work. But I do think that there would be, in my mind, it's yes, you would go into a lower decks area, which is very brightly colored. Obviously, you could paint it and produce it.
You could do like a cell shade animation kind of look.
And then I would love like a sort of you go through, and I don't know, maybe it's a person's job or it's a computer's job, but you get lower deckified.
Oh yeah,
right. So
you pay that money. Take that photo on the green screen, and
or nowadays they even have it where it's like a screen and there's a video of you and it's running like a live time colorization,
like a Snapchat filter, right? Exactly. Yeah.
So
Snapchat filter.
You'll never see this because I'm not going to show it to you. But at the experience, and this was kind of it was in Quark's bar. It's kind of was not a big being part of it. It was just there. You could do a thing on a green screen where they would put you in a TOS episode. So you would go into back then this was 90.
Oh,
whatever.
Nice.
And so they give you here's your lines.
Oh, that's
lines.
So cool.
And so and then
the
so
Enterprise Extra experience.
Yeah, and so you do your da 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 da, and then they'd put you in the TOS 5 minutes.
Oh, I want to do that. That sounds amazing.
Could you buy the VHS?
It was a disc. It was an actual disc.
Oh, okay.
You'll never see it.
So fun.
Oh, Philip, I think you have to share that out. What episode what was it?
I'll pull out my Star Wars insert where I'm face swapped with Anakin or Obi-Wan. I'll show you those. So
it was the one with Sarek, because it was you were on it's because this is before you had special effects with TOS. It was the Orion pirate or whatever, that shuttle that was following the Enterprise, and then it ends up exploding at because they fired at it. But anyway, yeah. So you had a scene with you in the corridor, and then a scene with you on the bridge. So yeah,
that's cool though.
Yeah. All right. So how would you handle? I mean, this is in a good way. I don't know why I'm having a tone. Oh, how would you handle? Because with the 23rd century, you have now lots of opportunity because you have TOS Discovery and Strange New Worlds. So I feel like could you get away with the Strange New Worlds bridge and then call it TOS as well?
No. Well, yes and no. I think. I think you would address it as Strange New Worlds. You wouldn't. Right. You wouldn't pretend.
You want to brand with what you got out.
You wouldn't put the Shatner Kirk on that. You would just.
It'd be what's his face is Kirk. I forget.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, we got new Kirk, I guess, but
it's like new Kirk.
Yeah. I don't know. This is the weird thing about Star Trek. So
same thing with lower decks. I like your guys' idea of coloring it a little differently, but it's also you kind of almost don't even need to. I think I would just make the corridor with the bunk beds. That's kind of the main set I think of with lower decks, but it's really just bringing lower decks to life. It's live action version. So you don't even need to colorize it or over emphasize the fact that, this was animated. It's so was the animated series, but that's a good question about the TOS bridge though. Those old scientists.
Well, this is my pitch for the big build, and you can nix it because obviously, if they're going to give the license, they were going to want to pimp what's new, which I understand. That's fine, nothing wrong with that. So you build the Strange New Worlds bridge.
Okay.
Now, but you can play with costumes, whether you want a TOS costume.
Forget that. I want the Stargazer bridge.
But whether you want to cast it with TOS, or whether you want to cast it with Strange New World looking, that's up to whoever's ever running it. And you can change it. It's played. But then in the other parts of the experience, you could have slices of TOS, like you'd have either McCoy's sickbay or someone's quarters or Spock's quarters.
Right.
You
That's the
have
thing.
a slice.
Like how cool would that be if you had a massive corridor and then off of that different rooms and those were from different shows? Like that's the thing. I think if from the get-go you're establishing this is a jumble, this is a flavor of whatever, you're setting that expectation, because otherwise you're going to have people be like, oh yeah, well, you built a perfect recreation of the entire TOS set. Great. I mean, we already had that, but yeah. So
yeah, no. What I'm thinking of is like just in a standard building, a square building, right? Like you have
one of your Earth buildings.
So 4 corridors that go around the perimeter, essentially. So one corridor is styled after TOS. Then you go through as you turn the corner, you go through it.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, like
now it's a TNG
between each
corridor.
door set, it literally changes. Yeah.
And then all those rooms are based off that property. So
at the very beginning one is the giant cog for DS9 that rolls out of the way.
Yeah.
Gotta have that, guys.
Because, and again, not to steal their idea, but just to let you know how it works. So with Doctor Who The Experience, the way it worked, they would kind of have what I would call 2 levels of cast. They would have cast that was centered around I'm calling it a booth. It's not a booth, but you know what I mean. Their big diorama,
their section, yeah.
Their little area. And like I said, it was just like, nothing crazy. But then you'd have kind of free floating cast because they were all theoretically part of the same storyline. It was just different parts of the story. And so you would follow them, or they'd grab you, or like a time agent or a rebel time lord would, and so you'd have people, following that group, and they'd take you through all the different places, but they were all in different orders. And so that was kind of the cool part of, you'd have to go under the fireplace, like the girl behind the fireplace, or, so that was kind of cool depending on who you followed or who you hooked up with. You got different parts of the story in different order. So like you could have, sort of different sections from the different shows, but you could have, a secret Romulan agent who would, you could find, or you could have all the different temporal agent, or you could have whatever. But because I'm trying to think of how would you represent, I know, because we all want 90s builds, I know, but like, how are you, I'm forcing you all to think, how would Picard, how would you do Star Trek Picard?
You wouldn't.
Well, what would be cool? I mean, I'll go ahead. I'll let you answer. Sorry, I don't want to answer my own question.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer, so you could.
My answer would be the Borg. You would have the what's it called?
Collective, the alcoves.
What did they call the ship on Picard? The not the exhibit.
The
artifact.
Oh, the artifact. Yeah. Oh my God, I forgot they called it that. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I forgot they called it that.
So you could have Romulans and someone playing Hugh. I don't know. R.I.P. But
that's true. Well, so that's what I was trying to think of, like
XPs,
because we've kind of been modeling it after a little bit like the Star Wars Halcyon, a little bit like the Experience. I think we like the hotel option, but not necessarily like a story hotel. Because I'm trying to think like what is the experience, and what if we could also kind of base it off of like Space Camp. Space Camp is an experience where you check in for a certain amount of time. You're actually given, you're actually learning curriculum and like kind of like preparing to be an astronaut to a slight degree. Not that we're saying we're actually teaching them classes, but what if we went like the Starfleet Academy route?
It's a controlled trip through the.
It's a controlled trip, yeah, but it's not.
Time trip.
You don't feel like you're going to miss out like on the story. The story is just all around you and going on, and the interactions with the people. But that way you can get large groups of people. Like, here's your classroom, and you want to come check this out, and we're going to teach you about something. And it's almost more like a con in that way, where you could have like a rotating panel of actors and extras who could talk about their experience on the show, get a little meta, and go from there. Like, I don't know what the overall experience is besides like some sort of show ride, that which is always fun to do. 5D this time, got to take it up a notch.
Well, it's through time, so that would definitely
Through
count.
time, yeah. That time was the first. Shush. Time is whatever dimension we say it is. But
sorry, I'm just thinking because
I mean, I just want to put this out there, just because we haven't specifically mentioned it, but there was an idea late in the 90s. We briefly talked about this before the show, but to create the Enterprise, to build an to scale Enterprise.
Would have been so glorious.
Now, that I do think is obviously too ambitious.
I mean, think about all those empty Walmarts in your hometown. Now imagine this empty Enterprise that's been sitting there for 20 years. Like,
it also
what
wouldn't.
are we going to turn that to? It's clearly was a Pizza Hut. And,
No, this was always a
Bob's Computer Shack.
this was always a Bass Pro Shop. What are you talking about? The saucer was always meant to be that. I mean, I would have loved it. That's the thing, though. Like, okay, if it's Kirk's Enterprise, or I think they were.
Which one?
It was going to be like the movie Enterprise, is what it was going to look like.
Which one?
The motion picture.
Okay.
But I think the tricky thing is, though, like, there's actually not a lot of space inside of it. Like, there's a good amount of space, but like, it's a finite amount of space. Like, if you like you take around
unless you're gonna have working turbolifts,
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to have elevators. You have to have the support services for a hotel. I'm assuming it's a hotel, and you have all of the staged rooms, like the bridge and the engineering, and probably 2 of each, so that you can push people through faster. But I think, that would be. I mean, I would go. I would totally go.
I mean, that would be the super coolest thing ever. I don't even know that it's like logistically possible. I feel like.
I mean, I think the trickiest part is cantilevering that saucer. That saucer's got to be clipped into something. It is so.
Yeah.
Everything else,
and
is
even the nacelles are
would
be crazy. Like that tiny, tiny.
What town are we building? Does it have tornadoes?
Well,
hurricanes?
it would have to be more of like a dry dock where like you have support arms coming out to certain parts, like it's getting refitted, ready to go back up into space on the planet for some reason. Who knows? But
now it should be like the Bellagio, where at certain hours the you hear the music like the motion picture in Star Trek True,
and then all the lights light up, and then the warp cells like flicker, and the dish lights up.
You'd have the one guy in the suit waving.
Honestly, I'm here for it. I would be totally on the hour at night. It would light on effect.
Besides the engineering difficulties, I do. Of course, that would be super awesome. I don't think it's feasible, though, even then or now or anything.
Wasn't the King of Jordan supposed to build a Star Trek land? Like, didn't he promise that like 20 years ago?
Oh yeah, he got like a walk-on role, didn't he? In Voyager?
On Voyager.
Well, that's probably why he promised it. So there you go. Anyway. I don't know anything about this. But what I was thinking was like that experience is awesome and cool. Of course, I don't think you could actually build the ship and make it a functional building. But why not just build that experience inside of a regular building? You know what I mean? Like you walk in, it feels like you're on deck 0 or 1 or whatever, or deck 25 or whatever, however you want to start the experience. And then like you go through and like you go into the elevator, which obviously is built like a turbo lift. It looks like a turbo lift, whichever one you want to pick. And then, at the top, the penthouse is a bridge. You don't have to have the building specifically shaped like.
Yeah, just make it not like New Trek where the bridge has a window. It's not a window; it's a view screen that you can turn off and not show.
Or you can build it as a window. You actually, that'd be kind of cool if you did build it as a window, like kind of like New Trek
have like
does.
A fake like area of saucer in front of it where it looks like it's
right. Like so, it's an actual window, and you can actually see Vegas or wherever we're going to build it in the background. But the front of the screen is projected onto it, so you kind of have that same sort of and like all the information and there's whatever we're going to leave the planet, and we just we take off and like that sort of stuff. That'd be cool. That'd be super cool.
Because I'm not going to try to pitch a story, but I'm almost thinking in order to sort of with all of Star Trek. We're trying to like, all right, I'll take care of this portion over here. The ride could be a 23rd century ride, but it would be Discovery based. But you could then go through everything because you could then obviously, the actual ride. You could be flying out of the Discovery, and then you could visit Strange New World. Throwing that in the Enterprise from Strange New Worlds because it would be there. You could get in the ride, and then you could Discovery stuff. I don't know, Klingon War. You'd go through the Mirror Universe. You'd have to go through like the Emperor. You could. I mean, this is all visual, but that would kind of be your Discovery. Would be like the ride, and then when you're actually walking around, it could be like the other stuff too. So I'm sort of that's how I would get rid or showcase. That's what I'm looking for. Showcase Discovery, not get rid of. But and then let's see. So Strange New Worlds. I always feel like I'm missing a show. Strange New Worlds, Lower Decks, Picard. We kind of answered and kind of before.
We talked Prodigy.
Prodigy, yeah, and then Discovery. Okay, all right. Also, how would you do Enterprise?
Like, Enterprise would kind of be the easiest, really, just because it's the smallest.
Maybe
you could build the Enterprise, the NX-01 for sure.
Or I'm throwing this out. There could be a Vulcan portion, like on Vulcan portion, and so you either talk those Vulcans, and then you could even include like everything we know about Vulcan. So like you'd have like it'd be funny if you walk into Vulcan and something like do. Yeah.
That actually reminds me too, and I'll ask you guys what you would think. Like the original experience had actors from, like you mentioned, Robert Picardo, Philip. How would we feel about some of these roles being reprised by the actual actors in whatever experience, quote unquote, that you're getting? Like so.
They're all going to be like on screen. They're not going to be there. But I feel like you could get it because they're currently in Trek. Like Frakes, and he's still actively in Trek. Whether it's behind the scenes or in front.
Well, he would be the first one to sign up for this, anyways. He would because he's been in so much Star Trek already.
Captain Reserve Riker here. Welcome aboard.
He'd be the centerpiece.
Yeah, I feel like and I think different ports. Like I think with the Discovery ride, you could have Michael narrating that portion, and that'd be fine. But yeah, it'd be. I think it would be a good mix. It also depends how long you want this experience to be. Because if it's like an hour, you could do that. Like I said, if you do like an intermission, I'm hand quoting the intermission with like at a bar, and then 25 more minutes after that. You can really do a lot. All right. Well, any final thoughts about this $250 ticket that you're going to pay to go see Star Trek: The Experience?
Just would it be? I think we're all assuming, but would you think Vegas is the best place for it, or?
Probably no. Not necessarily. I could.
It's weather-wise pretty good. You definitely don't want somewhere with like a lot of wind and rain, but I don't know. It's really
it
hard
has to be.
say.
Not to be like, can't be like Ticonderoga. It has to be near a major airport, like literally near a major airport, which, McCarran, Vegas it is. So, that's the only reason. It doesn't have to be in a city. It has to be accessible. So, and I think the reason Vegas works is because they're sort of selling the casino and the hotel.
Entertainment.
So
that's their business.
So with Star Trek: The Experience, what is it selling other than it's in this place? Like, what else is in that place? This is why the reason you're coming. So, yeah, I don't know.
I'm curious too, and sorry to put us on a tangent here, but so it closed in 2008, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which was during the dry years. I wonder if that's because Paramount itself was not building up any sort of new property or anything like that. I wonder. That was dark times.
I don't know. I only did the mildest of research, but the company that was running it, Paramount, whatever it was called, just to run this or whatever it was doing, rides or whatever, got sold to whoever, and then then Vegas, Hilton, and them and then it was supposed to be, so it closed, but then it was going to be rebuilt at another location, and then never happened, and then so it's just one of those, yeah. But I'm sure it didn't help that it was in the lean years, doubt this would well, I say that I doubt this would happen now. I've seen how Paramount runs their business, so it probably would have. But anyway. So anyway, all right. Well, I'm sure we could talk more, and I really hope this isn't a crazy idea that we're pitching. I mean, Star Trek is obviously running Paramount Plus, which is a good thing. It's not a complaint in any way, shape, or form, and it's not going to die anytime soon. Even if Picard's wrapping up and Discovery is foreseeably wrapping up, maybe not immediately, but it's not going to last forever. And they're
got Star Trek 4 coming out soon.
Yeah. And I'm sure they'll be pitching a new series in the next 2 years. I mean, that's
Section 31. Yeah, no, definitely. There's lots going on.
So I mean, I really do hope they do have a Star Trek experience. Because I mean, same thing with Doctor Who. Like that Doctor Who experience. I mean, that was like a ride. I mean, for lack of a better word, it wasn't a ride, but you know what I'm talking about. But that ended up closing. And like before that, there was a Doctor Who exhibition in Cardiff, Wales, and that only lasted for a few years. Like these things don't necessarily last for, unfortunately, whatever reason. So, but I do hope there's a Star Trek experience that lasts. So, anyway, so any final thoughts, Darren?
No, just hope we see it again in my lifetime.
And Daniel, are you wanting to build one where you are?
Well, we do have the Enterprise coming back into, like you mentioned, Philip, back into
the old Air and Space.
The Air and Space Museum. So you can check it out. But yeah, not plenty of space, not a lot of space here. But would it bring you back?
Big wide open area there, right?
Yeah, that's what it's known for, I think. Would it bring you back to the old States, Philip, if you could come to a Star Trek experience? Because this could be our second meetup after 2016.
Right. All they need to do is build a park.
That's right. Look, Bozeman, Montana. I mean, look, as long as there's an airport, I'll get there. Yeah,
you could do the whole first contact experience, like build a little thing in the ground. Yeah, that'd be cool.
It'll actually be time for first contact by the time when they build it. All right.
It could be a self-fulfilling prophecy. They build a missile silo in the ground just in time for World War III. All right.
All right. So, Darren, if folks want to reach you about how you're going to be helping to construct all this in your garage, where can they find you?
Just a scale model. Didn't have time to paint it, but
all right, Dr. Brown.
They can find me on drsci-fi.com, DRSCIFI.
And Daniel, if folks want to know which character you'll be playing, walking around, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter at OneUpDan. That's the number one, not the word.
Hey, that Klingon looks funny. That's not how they're supposed to look. And
Hall of Klingons.
Just so you can yell at how wrong they look.
We do not speak of this.
And if folks want to know how I'll be avoiding the Murph Playtime Corner area, they can find me at NC Public Servant. Well, until next week, I'm Philip Gilfus.
I'm Daniel Brew.
And I'm Darren Moser.
Stranded here on City Alpha 3.